wonderful and diverse heritage, and that of course includes music. So I've been actually asked by Jassini, who is a music lover, especially a very good friend, a very strong fan of the Cats. And he has got his friends here, and of course Augustine and of course John.
James.
Oh, sorry, James. Paul and James, who have actually worked together to do this book. And this is a very commendable effort in order to relate the rather sterling talent available in Penang during the 50s and 60s. In fact, Penang was the cultural hub of Malaya at the time. Music hub, cultural hub. Even Singapore people go up to Penang because that's where all the talent and all the action is. So they just wanted to show. And this is of course what they have shown here. The book that they have produced to talk about the music history, and I think it's really appropriate I asked Jassini to start this introduction. What I want to say is stated in my statement. In the statement there, you can use that statement, but I think you find it much more interesting to get it direct from a committed music fan and music lover in Jassini. I know he plays a few songs also. Okay, right, thank you.
Actually, this musical heritage, I think a lot of people didn't realize how much talent Penang cultivated in Malaysia and actually in Malaya. And just like Liverpool in UK, yeah, if you guys remember, that's where the Beatles developed. So Penang is a port, and also you have the RW Air Base. We were also brought up by the latest music. Now, when Penang became an important port before the Second World War, you have lots of people, and in this book, if you read the intro, you will see all the various people around this area coming to set up a real potpourri, yeah? And how people were very flexible, very tolerant about the various cultures. And finally, I think Paul and James doesn't want just to stop at this book. The final journey actually is they want to set up the Penang Musical Heritage Center so that it is another product which Penang can do as in the tourism industry. You need this heritage center because they have lots of information from the artists which they want to tell the whole world. And it can also become a resource center. And I think I pass the mic to James and Paul to further elaborate their efforts.
So many of you are aware of this book already, and the fact that this book is part of a journey to something like celebrate and reclaim Penang's musical heritage. Of course, Penang right now, I mean, first of all, there's a book about Penang, which is a very, very special place. Secondly, Penang right now has a fantastic environment in terms of supporting the kind of celebrations of arts and culture and the kinds of supporting of documenting our past experiences, partly to inspire future generations, partly to mark the contribution of many, many, many people over the years. So within that environment, which has been very much set by the Penang State Government since 2008, with lots of investment in arts and culture and opportunities for celebrating heritage, Paul and I have been very privileged to have produced this book, which represents a fantastic collaboration between lots and lots and lots of people, the musicians, their families, everyone involved in both the history generally of Penang and specifically the musical traditions and history. You will be aware that it's a very, very rich and diverse history, and in celebrating it, inevitably the book can't cover everything by any means. Lots and lots of stories remain to be told. And when Jasny referred to the idea that this is actually part of a journey, it's not the end of our journey, it's because we have so much more to tell. And when I say we, not just Paul and I mean lots and lots of people in Penang and in Malaysia have stories to tell. I'll pass over to Paul to talk a little bit more about the kind of support and the kind of information and the kind of documentation we've been very, very privileged to receive from lots and lots of supporters. Because we really think that, you know, all of this celebration needs to be in the public domain. There's no point putting it, the book is written in such a way, or is it presented in such a way that it's very accessible. We don't want some academic book just to put on the shelf, far from it. We want everyone to be able to access its history, celebrate it, draw inspiration from it, and be part of it. So that's very much part of the book, and very much part of our idea for a Penang Musical Heritage Centre.
Before I just introduce James. James is, of course, is a local fixture in Penang. Everybody knows his active work. Whether you agree with him or you don't, the point is that you need him around. So, you know, especially for the Relay for Life, you know, the purple T-shirt, everybody knows the purple T-shirt. And of course many other programs. But he's, even though he's British, but he's a Penangite through and through. So we're very proud to have James with us, and he has contributed his book. Next one, of course, Paul Augustine. Paul Augustine is a true blue Penangite. Grew up in Penang, but now he's staying in KL, I think, most of the time. But he's a Penangite through and through, but he's not staying in KL, he's a musician. And he's the one responsible for the International Jazz Festival. Penang International Jazz Festival, 10 years already. 12 years, this is the 12th year. And we are actually supporting him, because we want the Jazz Festival to continue. And this Jazz Festival is the best in Asia. So we want to maintain that standard. So they are all very qualified to talk about Penang music, especially in the 60s and the 50s, swinging 50s and swinging 60s. Yeah, Paul, all yours.
Thank you, Zian, and also James. Like James said, you know, when we did the research, actually it started off by doing personalities that we were interested in. I had my own heroes. I was a musician, so I had the foreign heroes like Beatles, Deep Purple, Zeppelin, but I also had my local heroes, which was John Lynn, Edwin Rajamani, Larry Rodriguez, Jimmy Boyle. And I found it interesting when people don't know who they are. You know, when they've contributed so much to not Penang but to Malaya itself. You're talking about Ahmad Marikan, you know, who helped set up the RTM. Zainal Alam, who was with the radio. Ahmad Nawab, Ahmad Dao, Wu Yao Jin. All these people have contributed so much to the growth and the music of Penang. And they are not recognized today, so it is very sad. So we started on this journey. As we started the research, we went to see hundreds of people. And funny thing was, some of them died after we talked to them. Then after that, nobody wanted to talk to us. Yeah, and our journey even took us as far as Italy, Holland, London, Australia, where we found that Penang musicians were moving all over the place. In Norway, you know, people, Penang musicians. And the beauty about all these musicians, when they talk about their previous time in the 60s and 50s, they talk with pride. It's about Penang. It's always about, we go and play, we finish, we go for food. There was always a togetherness. Everybody was together. And they talk about how good. If you listen to the music, you'll be amazed. As a person who runs the jazz festival, I've listened to a lot of music all over the world. I've been invited to a lot of places. But when I started listening to songs, when people talk about Jimmy Paul, how many have you heard him play? When he started playing and when I heard it, my hair was standing. Yeah, and he did actually an orchestral version of Putra Putri. You know, and these things are never heard. It was done in 1965. And so we started collecting a lot of recordings. So we have like hundreds of recordings now with thousands of photographs, posters, but we can't put it all into the book. So eventually our journey started with 2 exhibitions, documenting things, the book, and then eventually it has to find a place to stay. So we're in the process of looking at how to set up a resource center where people can have access to it, and we can also portray and tell people this is the music of Penang. You know, it's not only here, but it's gone overseas. Some of them gone to KL, some have gone to Singapore, Indonesia. They're all over the place. This Penang fellas got to get food. But if you look back, Jimmy Paul, there was Marikan, and there was in the 50s. In the 60s, the other Thunderbolts, there was also Ladybirds. Penang was reputed to have the first all-lady pop band. And then after that, in the 70s, we had the Alley Cats and the New Faces Sweet September. Alley Cats was the biggest selling band in Malaysia in the 80s. So there's so much of things that we have got, but there's still so much more that we want to together. And we hope to find a place where we can share with people. And it's not an academic book. And we thank the state government for promoting the arts and culture and also the heritage, which is very, very important. To look forward, you have to look back. Penang was leading way back then, and it still leads now. So we should carry on with that. Thank you.
Yes.